Steelers Nation, what is going on? Thank you guys for joining us on yet another edition of the Steelers Culture Podcast, where we break down Pittsburgh Steelers football. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about the quarterback position, or a quarterback prospect, I should say, considering that quarterback is for sure going to be a need heading into the NFL draft, and we're still waiting on word from A-Rod. And today, we're going to be talking about one quarterback prospect in particular that the Steelers have shown a ton of interest in. Jalen Milroe out of Alabama.
Even if they sign Aaron Rodgers, I don't think it's going to take the team away from taking a quarterback too early. Now, keep in mind, man, we've made it known all offseason. We've made it known the entire draft process. We've made it known for weeks, months now. The Steelers should not draft a quarterback in the first round. I don't think they should draft a quarterback in the first 2 days. It is not the draft class to do it. They have too many needs. And based on everything they've done this offseason, all signs point to them going after their guy in 2026, where it'll be held in Pittsburgh, of all places. So it is not the year to overdraft a quarterback, and that does include Mr. Milroe from Alabama.
You sound like Mike Tomlin saying Mr. Milroe. It's something that Tomlin would say, right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Mike Tomlin loves a guy like Jalen Milroe, man. He fits exactly what Tomlin wants in a quarterback. He's athletic. He's explosive. He has incredible upside that you cannot deny, but at the same time, he's safe with the football. He doesn't exercise the field too much. He checks it down a little too often for our liking. It kind of fits everything Mike Tomlin wants or sees in a quarterback, where they're not exactly going to challenge a defense that much, except with their explosiveness and with their movement and mobility. That's what Jalen Milroe would bring to on day one, and that's where he's best at is, yes, his mobility. When you look at his pros and cons and you look at the pros first, that's the biggest thing that stands out. He can run the ball. He's an excellent athlete. He's explosive. He's got great vision. He's an explosive runner. 20 rushing touchdowns last year. In fact, there were many games last year he had more rushes than completions. That's how good of a rusher he is. That's how trusted he is with the ball in his hands. He's an explosive runner.
Yeah, we know the type of Sonic-like speed that he brings to the table. We know the type of athleticism he brings to the table. The guy is just a standout when it comes to being a rusher and a scrambler, trying to evade pressure and whatnot. Like, that is the best trait that Jalen Milroe brings to the table.
And I will continue on with his pros here. Not only is he obviously an excellent runner, everyone in their sister-in-law's baby cousin Tracy knows that. Water is wet. Mike Tomlin is, loves a guy like Milroe.
It's not hard to see why.
But continuing on with his pros, man, as a quarterback, he's inconsistent, but I do see the ability to him to stand strong in the pocket and make his throws. I think he does show flashes of a strong arm, which I don't think he used enough in Alabama, whether that's his decision, whether that's coaching, whether that's the play designs. I don't think he used his arm enough. He didn't exercise the field as much as he should have. He has the arm to do it. He has the arm strength to do it. And I think when he utilized it, there were some times where he showed potential in pinpoint accuracy. In fact, I will go on to say that the film that we watched and the games we watched, most of his good throws either resulted in touchdowns or drops. I mean, we looked at games such as Wisconsin, Auburn, South Carolina, Georgia, LSU, some of his better games last year. We also looked at Oklahoma, Tennessee, Mizzou, games like that. We looked at several games with Jalen Milroe, and there were instances where, like, you know what? You got some potential here, man. That's a good play. That's a good decision. That's a damn good throw from a quarterback right there. He has the potential. He shows flashes of great accuracy and great arm talent. He does.
The glimpses are there for Jalen Milroe, especially with his arm talent. Like, there's no denying the strength and the talent that he brings when throwing the football. He's got a pretty deep ball. And I think that a part of that actually helps with his bulky build for his position. Like, the man is very fit. You just look at how he was on the at the Alabama Pro Day and whatnot. I mean, he's fit to a T. He's got great build. He's bulky. He's speedy. His talent is there. The glimpses are there. They are showcased in glimpses.
But that's the thing. Glimpses. The problem with Jalen Milroe is he is way too inconsistent in a lot of areas. And first and foremost, that starts with, in my opinion, his accuracy. His accuracy is all over the place. There's many times where he's overthrowing receivers. He's throwing behind his receivers. There's many times where he doesn't throw with anticipation. He doesn't throw when the receiver breaks off his route. He holds on to the ball just a tad bit long after the receiver breaks off their route, which leads to late passes or late ball arrival for the receiver. That's just one of the things I noticed on tape a lot is when the receiver breaks and when the receiver gets to that next level on their route, Milroe still has the ball in his hands just a tad too long. He needs to throw with anticipation. He holds on the ball just a little too long for my liking in that area. He also stares down receivers too much. That's one of the biggest negatives with him is he can't process the field. He stares down receivers, and I think because of that, he missed opportunities to hit receivers down the field with his arm and with his down the field vision. There was a play against Tennessee where Bernard was wide open in the slot, up the seam, and Milroe completely missed him.
His accuracy is very inconsistent. It's very spotty. Very spotty. It's usually over the receiver or behind the receiver. He misses targets way too often than he should when it comes to his arm talent. Again, his inability to process the field. And honestly, when looking at the tape, I see the majority of his throws as constant checkdowns.
Right.
Which isn't the worst thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, so to speak. But looking at how the Steelers are in their quarterback play over the number of years since Ben retired, it's just constant checkdowns and just shuffles to the running back.
Which makes sense, which gives every indication why the Steelers would like a guy like Jalen Milroe. Because one, he is a project, and I think Tomlin doesn't fear away from guys like that. But yeah, the checkdowns and the way that he runs the offense and the style of offense that the Steelers have ran for the past number of years, and now you add Arthur Smith and what Jalen Milroe would bring to that fit, it does fit for what they want to run. But is it successful? No.
Is it a good fit? In my opinion, not necessarily. I don't deny the talent that Milroe brings. I never denied it. The guy's an athlete. He's a standout when he's on the field, when he's running with the football, when he utilizes his arm talent at a pretty solid rate. I just don't think that it's a good fit for the Steelers and Jalen Milroe's inconsistencies. I find him to be extremely raw. The talent is there, just extremely raw. And I don't know. I don't know if the Steelers are going to be the team, so to speak, to get that potential or get the best out of Jalen Milroe. I just don't trust the coaching staff. I just don't trust them to get the best out of Milroe. And considering on how their offense has been run over the number of years and how their offense is, I just feel like that what Milroe has showcased already in Alabama, my fear is it's going to be somewhere the same from what he did at Alabama to the NFL level with the Steelers.
Right. I mean,
and I don't find that as a recipe for success.
He is a massive project. And when I talk about massive project, I'm talking about a guy that's going to have to sit for probably 2 years.
At best.
If he's going to be used or drafted to be a potential franchise guy. I don't see franchise potential yet. It really depends on where he's drafted and the good fit for him. That really matters. Like I always say, you're only as good as coaching. And I don't know if Jalen Milroe being coached by the Steelers is the best idea for Jalen Milroe's future.
Yeah, say he gets drafted by, say, the Raiders, right? Like with Pete Carroll, you pair Pete Carroll with Jalen Milroe. What Pete Carroll could do for Jalen Milroe in his development could probably do wonders for Jalen Milroe and sitting behind Geno Smith or even the Seahawks. You know, if the Sam Darnold situation doesn't pan out, they kind of have a plan B or a backup plan to lean on Jalen Milroe, see what Mac McDonald can do, or Mike McDonald, whatever his name is, can do over in Seattle, try to get his development out there with his targets.
But when you look at all the quarterbacks in this draft class, there's only been three quarterbacks that the Steelers have sent the house to their individual pro days. Jalen Milroe, out of all the three quarterbacks, has got the most eyes on him when it comes to the Steelers front office. And I'm talking about Tomlin, Kahn, Terrell Austin, Tom Arth,
the quarterback coach,
and Dan Colbert, who is the director of college scouting. A lot of eyes on Jalen Milroe, and they took him out to dinner. There's going to be tons of interest coming their way. I mean, it's the worst kept secret in the world that the Steelers love a guy like Jalen Milroe. My issue is they might overdraft him. Overall, I think Jalen Milroe will be overdrafted. I don't see him as a first-round guy.
Nowhere near.
I don't even see him as a day 2 guy. I see him at best a 4th rounder, 5th rounder.
Early day 3.
That's how raw he is. That's how much of a project he is, man. He needs a lot of work between the ears. There are flashes. You see glimpses. And no matter where he goes, on day 1, he'll be one of the more explosive rushing quarterbacks in the league if they ever want to utilize it. Very much like the Steelers did with Justin Fields and the Justin Fields packages. They could do that a lot with Jalen Milroe, which sounds encouraging, especially if Aaron Rodgers, God forbid, is going to be the quarterback and his mobility is non-existent. I get that part. But are you going to, depending on where he's drafted, Are you developing him to be the backup for the future? Or are you developing him because of his upside to be a potential franchise player? It really depends where Jalen Milroe goes. I don't see the franchise potential with the Steelers. Maybe somewhere else, but I don't see it with the Steelers. Not with the way they want to run the offense, not with the coaching they got, and their recent evaluation at the quarterback position. I just don't see it with the Steelers and Milroe being a perfect match. I don't. But the interest is obvious, and I can't deny it. I wouldn't mind drafting Milroe as long as it isn't so early. If by some idiotic mistake the Steelers draft him in the first round, we got a huge problem going on, man. We got something bad going in the front office, and somebody needs to be fired after that decision, if that ever happens.
Yeah, because I know Colin Cowherd, take it with a grain of salt. He threw it out there just a number of weeks ago about, the Steelers love Jalen Milroe. He heard the Steelers could be taking him at pick 21. It could be like a Kirk Cousins situation back with the Falcons last year when they took Penix.
No.
Whether you want to believe it or not, I don't. I just don't see the Steelers projecting Milroe that high. There's no way. I find that to be ridiculous. There's no way they project Milroe that high.
I wouldn't be surprised, Bobby, because they projected Mason as the first rounder, and they took Kenny in the first round.
That was Kevin Colbert.
That's fair.
And Kevin Colbert did both of that. This is Omar Khan. I don't see Omar Khan.
But we still have Mike Tomlin.
Yes, I get that. But Omar Khan, he's the general manager, and he's been a scout for a number of years. Before being a general manager, he's both a GM and a scout now.
Sure.
I can't see, based off his track record so far, I can't see him reaching for a player like that.
I would hope
especially
not.
at the quarterback position. Until proven otherwise, I just can't see Omar Khan doing that. Kevin Colbert, not surprised. In his mind, his vision, he wanted to leave the Steelers in a positive light, in a comfort space with fixing the quarterback position. He didn't.
No, he did it in the worst way possible.
I just can't see Khan doing that same predicament. I hope to God not.
So the first round talk, I'm not even going to really entertain it because it just sounds blasphemous. Day 2 is probably going to be the sweet spot for a guy like Jalen Milroe. As much as I think he's a day 3 talent, I don't think he makes day 3 because I think there will be a team that will over-evaluate and overdraft a guy like Jalen Milroe, and that could include the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jalen Milroe, if he is drafted by the Steelers day 2, it needs to be at the case of the Steelers getting a pick back.
They only got 2 picks the first 2 days. The first and the third, obviously.
And that first round pick could go to D-line, that could go to receiver, corner, maybe even quarterback, right? But they don't have a pick until the third round. And if you're going to put another position on the back burner for a guy like Milroe, I can't endorse that as a Steelers fan. So if they want to draft Milroe day 3 and make sure they secure him, it better be because they traded back and got an extra pick.
That should be an idea that Khan seriously has to consider, highly consider.
But even then, I, as a fan, wouldn't select Milroe day 2. He's a day 3 talent with the upside to potentially be someone that could lead a team or be a stopgap.
Yeah.
Because as of now, I see him very similar to an Anthony Richardson or Joe Milton or even a great value Justin Fields. They're very similar. Great athletes, explosive runners, right? They can evade pressure, but they can't process the field, and accuracy is all over the place.
Yeah. It's a fine comparison, honestly.
But he has the upside to turn out to be like Jalen Hurts. But he needs the right tools around him, and he needs a coach. He's really going to need a coaching quarterback guru to coach him up because he has a lot of issues that need fixed. He is a huge project no matter where he goes, which is why I think day 3, listen, if you want to take a quarterback day 3, regardless of who it is, fine. I'm not going to complain because it's a day 3 pick, and inevitably they're going to draft a quarterback.
Yeah, and to me, as a Steelers fan, and based off this quarterback class this year, I find day 3 as the sweet spot to take a quarterback.
Right. Now, Milroe isn't one of our most enamored quarterbacks of this class, obviously. In fact, there's not really many quarterbacks we like in this class. There's only 2 I can really pinpoint that I would take on day 3. But if Milroe falls to day 3 and the Steelers want to take him, I can live with that because at least you already know that they're going to take a quarterback, preferably day 3, and then they can still get him at his value.
At least at that point, it'd be an easier pill to swallow. Rather than the Steelers over-projecting him and over-drafting a guy like Milroe despite his talent.
And it would give the Steelers the ability to take other needs earlier in the draft while still getting a guy like Milroe that they like.
Yeah.
I can live with that. And Milroe, again, he's going to have to sit for 2 years minimum. If he's drafted by the Steelers, he's going to have to be the number 3. He's going to have to redshirt for a little bit because he needs a lot of fixing.
Yep.
He needs a lot to grow. There's just a lot with his game I don't like. There's some of his game I do like, and there are flashes, and that's where I'm like, you know what? Maybe with the right system and the right coaching and the right scheme, he can benefit. Very much like a Jalen Hurts. But the Steelers, I don't see it, but I can't deny their interest because, again, he's one of only 3 quarterbacks that Steelers sent the house to. And if the Steelers are going to draft a quarterback, I'd imagine they're going to draft someone that they had all eyes in front of rather than just a scout. They want to be able to draft somebody that Tomlin and company all saw in person. They're going to want the top guys seeing the guy they're going to draft.
I mean, it's the quarterback. It's the quarterback position. It's the person that's going to lead your team for what you hope is years to come.
Right.
So everybody's going to be hands on deck at that position, but we'll see. But I do remember the Malik Willis interest how many years ago? 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Like there was high interest and huge discussions within the Steelers and Malik Willis, and are the Steelers going to take Malik Willis? Ultimately, they didn't. They showed the interest, but they never took him. So maybe this is a deja vu situation. Maybe. It could be. It just depends on how the cards fall when it comes to the draft.
Yeah.
Just how their draft board goes, what Andy Weidel and Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin and everybody in the draft room is really going to do.
Right.
On what they think.
So, again, man, they have tons of interest on a guy like Jalen Milroe as, again, nobody's shocked by that. I can see why they have so much interest in him, and I can't deny his upside because I will say this quarterback class isn't good, but out of all the quarterbacks, he might have the highest upside.
He is the most athletic for sure.
He's most athletic, and if he can get the quarterback tools down, he can really be something solid. He can. I don't trust the Steelers to do that for him. I don't trust the Steelers to develop any quarterback, especially someone so raw.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I know we're going to draft a quarterback in 2026, and then you still have your doubts on if they can coach that guy up, but at least they will be higher, farther along than a guy like Milroe. That's why if they do select Milroe, you can't overdraft Jalen Milroe. Not in the first, not even day 2. And if you do it day 2, it needs to be because you traded back and got extra picks so you can still fill other holes before selecting a quarterback. Whether that's Milroe, whether that's Howard, Shuck, anyone else. But tons of interest coming from Jalen Milroe.
Yep.
In fact, as of this recording, they've only brought in 2 quarterbacks for top 30 visits. That's Shook and that's Jackson Dart. I would imagine Milroe will be part of the top 30 visits list as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft because the interest is too much.
I mean, I just don't see how Milroe is not a part of the top 30 visits.
Yes. I'm personally not a fan of Milroe. I think there's a lot of flaws with his game. I do see the upside. I do see the potential. I just don't see it with the Steelers.
I'm not a fan of Milroe as a Steeler. I like the talent. I know the talent's there. I know the talent has been showcasing glimpses. But I do feel that Milroe is better off with another team like the Raiders, like the Seahawks, like I mentioned, rather than the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
That's just my honest opinion on that.
But if they do want to draft Milroe and use him day 1 as a runner in packages, listen, I'm not going to bat an eye on that because I think the Steelers should entertain something like that. I think they didn't use it enough with Fields last year. So if they want to do that with Milroe, by all means. But as a quarterback, yeah, there's so much to work with because as of right now, he's not a great passer. He's not a good quarterback. He's a better runner than he is a quarterback. The Steelers, it really depends where they view him, what grade they have him at, and if they do draft him, where will they draft him? That's the biggest concern with me and the Steelers when it comes to Milroe. I can't deny the interest. I can't deny that their eyes were on him at the Bama Pro Day. I just worry about, okay, where are we going to draft him if we do draft him? Does he get out of day 2? If you do, then I'm sure the Steelers will definitely take a day 3 flyer on him. But I personally can't see him falling out a day 2. I think there will be a team that takes him up. That could be the Steelers. That could be some other team.
Mm-hmm.
This quarterback class isn't the greatest, so there might be somebody, there might be a team that takes him up based on his athleticism, based on his upside. Time will tell, man. The NFL draft is coming up shortly. It's going to be an exciting and interesting next couple of weeks as everything's going to continue to be speculation And we're getting closer and closer, and more news will be coming out in terms of who the Steelers bring in, who they're looking at, and I'm sure Milroe will be one of those guys in that list. We'll see what happens, man. Let us know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. How do you feel about a guy like Jalen Milroe from Alabama? Do you want the Steelers to select him? If you do, where? What are your honest opinions about a guy like Jalen Milroe? Let us know everything down in the comments below. See you in the next one. Here we go, Steelers.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!